last 30 years, since the 70s, incomes have been trending downward. When you start, even when you calculate inflation and all that, incomes have, companies are paying about 10% less in the last 30 years. So they call that the wealth gap, the haves and the have-nots. You got the top 1% and all the people that are very wealthy, the Koch brothers and all those people. They are getting richer, but the poor seem to be what? Getting poorer. Okay. Now, that is happening at a staggering and alarming rate in America now. Okay. So no one is coming to people's aid to help them with that scenario. Think about this. Everybody gets rich on corporate America, not corporate America, but middle America. Okay? Middle American families make $30,000 to about $300,000 a year. And everybody who has a business gets rich on those people. And they take advantage of those folks. Ain't nobody trying to help them, but everybody's taking advantage of them. See, think about it. You can buy a Rolls Royce, right? But do you think they sell more Rolls Royces or more Honda Accords? More Honda Accords. So they make more products that fit what? Middle America. Okay? So even though you can buy a car for $300,000 or $400,000, but companies don't get rich on them. They get rich on the $17,000 car, the $22,000 car, the $30,000 car. Okay? So corporations have decided that they're going to use employees to build their business. Not necessarily anything wrong with that, but the problem is we have gotten to the point in our lives where we started to think that the job was the last measure. That's all we need. That's the last step of building our finances, when really the job is really a stepping stone. It's a stopgap to help you make a living while you're building income-producing assets. But people have gotten to the point where they say, I just want to get me a good job, and then they forget all about the building income-producing assets. So we spend a tremendous amount of energy going to get a good degree, trying to find a good job. Then we're making 60, 70, 80,000, whatever the number is, and we say, okay, I have arrived. You have not, because you are still on borrowed time. Does that make sense? Yes. Now, one of the things I want you to understand is this. You see, historically, things start to happen in societies, okay? There's always one part of society always trying to oppress another. Okay, this has happened all throughout history. So remember when they had slaves and it was determined that we could not have slaves anymore, what happened? They said, okay, since we can't have these slaves, we'll still give them room and board on our land, and they can work for us, and they're basically working for us to get a place to stay and food to eat, and the little medical care, which they'll call a doctor in to help them out, and all that if they fall out, but it wasn't that major. Think about what's happening today. A corporation gives you the illusion of freedom. They give you a job. They pay you just a little bit of money to kind of live your life, but you're still a slave.
Right.
You don't have real freedom. If you have to be somewhere on Monday morning, if you don't be there, something's going to happen, you don't have freedom. You got an illusion of freedom. You can't do what you want to do. They're only going to pay you so much money so you can pay some bills, but then that money run out, and then you got to go running back to them for some more. You are a slave. Everybody got it?
Yeah.
So this is where most people are in America. So what my econ is about building ownership and building leverage. And that will equal your freedom. You have to have ownership. On your job, you don't have any ownership. You don't own your seniority. You can't say, I worked here for 30 years, now I'm going to pass my seniority down to my son. You can't do that, can you?
No.
See, all you own is borrowed time. I don't care if you make $100,000 a year on your job. You own borrowed time. And then when you walk away, the corporation don't got nothing for you. Do it. So we have to take it upon ourselves. That's why we call it my economy. My economy. You got to fix yours. Everybody's individual economy. Don't worry about what goes on in the world economy, what goes on in the American economy. Just imagine if you fix your economy. If they take gas prices to $20 a gallon, you better make sure you got some money to fill up. See, people run around and say, oh, gas price is too high. No, your check just too low. Everybody got it?
Yes, sir.
So now, let's talk about the cash flow plan. My Econ's personal cash flow plan is a detailed plan on how to apply the discretionary cash flow to your finances each month to obtain personal financial success. Our business system and other financial tools will help you to acquire additional discretionary cash flow. Minor arguments can be made about our plan versus another, but the main point is a quality, written, and executed plan is infinitely better than no plan at all, okay? Additionally, our plan is great because it helps you get extra cash flow to begin getting positive movement in your finances. Let's read all of the steps. So now, we have an 8-step process. So that's called our PCP, Personal Cash Flow Plan. Everybody must have one. Now, step 1, it says acquire as much cash flow as possible each month from business income, less taxes, W-4 adjustment, less expenses, and eliminated debt. So that's step 1. We got to get cash flow from everywhere. We got to stop thinking about our finances as one-dimensional. See, most people say, well, I want to fix my finance, I just got to go make some more money. So you said you would have got a second job or a part-time job, right?
I have.
You got a part-time job.
3 days a week.
Okay, 3 days a week. Now that's most people's plan to fix their finances.
And I
Now,
work until I die.
and you work until you die. So it really does not solve the issue. It doesn't solve the issue, see? And more money is not necessarily the answer because a fool and his money will soon part. See, if you get more money and you don't know what to do with the money when you get it, it's just more money that's going to leave your hands. I see people that hit the lottery. They make $200 million or whatever it is, and within 5 years, they're broke. Why is that? See, Mike Tyson made $400 million, and today he's broke. Iverson, just a couple of years ago, he was, in trouble in court because he couldn't pay $30,000 for some jewelry or something, and he made millions of dollars. Evander Holyfield's house just got sold, and it was in foreclosure for about a year and a half. He made $500 million. See, this idea, if I just go get some more money, I'm going to be straight, that's not true. You got to get some more, but then when you get it, you got to know where to strategically place it and what not to do with it. Everybody got it? Yes. Now, so we want to do a full-fledged approach. We want more money. We want to pay less taxes. If I start showing you the wealthiest people in the world, they have systems to help them minimize taxes. See, the stuff that we teach here at MyEcon are sound financial principles. Take MyEcon's name off of it. See, MyEcon is just the packaging. That's what brings us all together, okay? Now, step 2, set up a beginner's emergency fund. Most people I run into have no emergency fund whatsoever. If an emergency happens, it's called, uh-oh, I better go borrow some money, I better put it on the credit card, and now you got an issue. Because see, the washing machine don't last forever. It's guaranteed to break one day. The brakes are guaranteed to go out on the car one day. And when that happens, you got to have some money to fix it, right? So what you must do is you got to get yourself some cash flow. About $3,000 sitting aside in an account that's not your checking account, not your savings account. It's in something like a money market fund or a bond, municipal bond fund or something. So it's liquid, but it's not so easy to get to where you dip it in it every time you want to. Does that make sense? You only dip into it in an emergency, okay? So this is the framework for what we do here at MyEcon. Step 3, begin investing in a retirement account of some kind. A 401k, a 403b, an IRA, a simple IRA, an annuity. If you can, put the maximum amount on a monthly basis, but at least 5%. So everybody, if you are not investing in a retirement account, okay, first of all, get your emergency fund together. See, if you save $300, $400, $500 per month on your taxes, you need to take that money, if you don't have an emergency fund, first and foremost, and fund the emergency fund. Within 4, 5, 6 months, you got $3,000. Just don't spend it, okay? Now, start taking 5% of your income and dropping it into your retirement account on the job. If they don't have one, we'll teach you how to set up one. It's very easy. We got some financial advisors and stuff that's with us and everything, so you can do that. Now, step 4, take the rest of your available cash flow after living expenses and set up a MyEcon debt elimination plan. So we're going to talk about that in a second. Pay off all of your consumer debt, not your mortgage, and don't go to step 5 until you have completed step 4. So each of these steps you want to go in sequential order. Sometimes people will join MyEcon and they'll say, well, just teach me about investing. I just want to start investing. I just want to get down and get into the stock market. Well, they got debt up the wazoo. They got no emergency fund. They have no business investing in the stock market. Because if they mess around and lose all their money, now they're in an even worse position. Does that make sense? So you got to learn how to walk before you can crawl, before you can run. Investing in the stock market is running a marathon. And you can't get up as a baby talking about, I'm getting ready to run a marathon. Everybody got it? Now, step 5. If you're not maxing out your retirement investments, raise your payments to the max. Do not go to step 6 until you complete step 5. Step 6, take all of your available monthly cash flow and build a full emergency fund. The fund should be built on 3 to 6 months of living expenses. I would say at least 6. At least, if not 9.
Especially if
so if something happens, they decide to get rid of you, because that does happen, y'all do know that, right? You are not guaranteed to have a job. I had 2 instances in my life where they just walked in and said, we just go in a different direction. And they fired everybody in office. They didn't care if I had a job, if I had a child, if I had bills and car notes, they didn't care. They said, well, we decided to do something different. We bring in a whole new team of people and we doing this. Now think about that. The riskiest thing that you could ever do in your life is put all your eggs in, I'm going to have me a job. Because there is no guarantee that you're going to have one. Now, if you got one today, that's a blessing. If they pay you good money, that's a blessing. But I know people that had $200,000 or $300,000 in income one day, and within 2 weeks, both of them had got let go from the job. And they had car notes, credit cards, mortgages, all kind of stuff. That was 15 years ago. They still haven't recovered today, Preston. They had $400,000 worth of debt. They ain't recovered today. Because once they lost that job, they was able to get jobs, but they wasn't the same job. It wasn't the same income. See, you got